Yeah, so I was commissioned to write this play and began the process in January of 2019. And so the initial impulse and impetus for this project has been gestating for longer than that, of course. But that sort of first image of this woman uh, in lockdown in her space, it long predates our current situation. Although I don't know if I've told you this yet, Kristen, but I spent a couple of years in Minneapolis as a Jerome Fellow, and I lived alone in a hotel that had been converted into a apartments. And uh, there were just many long winter months where I did not leave very much and I did not talk to other people very much. And I think that was actually the sort of emotional experience that I was drawing on. And but it has been so our very first time, Kristen Osborn's and my very first experience on this piece, we kicked off our process with me reading the play aloud to her, and it was like day 3 of quarantine, and we barely got through it. It was really kind of grueling, uh, in ways that were totally unintentional. And actually, to your point, so I have rewritten it, and I have pared away quite a bit of the description of what it feels like to live in quarantine, because we now have that shared cultural experience. And so I've had much less work to do in sort of articulating what that is, and also like why someone might be talking to themselves for 90 minutes and like what this sort of does to you, um, psychologically, but also I would say spiritually.
And of course, it's your play, so it's creepy and it gets under your skin, and and you see yourself in it in ways that are not at all flattering. You know, and Lisa can agree, being my fellow Virgo and our obsession with tidy.
Yeah.
And I think there was a moment where Paula said something along the lines of, "It's something you can control." You know, and I think since this quarantine, especially, how many hours when I should be working have I rearranged my silverware drawer? And, I really appreciated that part.
The play that it's so much about needing to control my my tiny little world, but that actually the sort of the accumulation of things to begin with is the root cause, and that nothing in any of the sort of minimalism philosophies really address what that sort of root cause or ache or wound is that causes us to accumulate all the stuff that then we sort of um, throw out and mass.
Here's my thing I'm not throwing away. Like, I have mine ready for tonight. It's a bust of Shakespeare. Why do I have this, But I love it, and I'm never getting rid of it.
So every day you begin your process by sharing
Mhm.
something? What now? Of course, now I'm like, oh, we could do something so cool with the audience.
It was so funny. It just felt like the right thing to do, because it was like what we found, I feel like, very early on with Paula is like she brought such beautiful specificity, and over the course of the play we had a lot of conversations about the objects in the play.
Yeah.
Do the objects spark the action? Like, how does the action of the play unfold? And Paula would just invest such specific beautiful meaning into all these objects, and it was like we all, and we'd like look around our homes, or like the first read through she was just picking things up and they'd be like the right thing. And so it just felt like a cool way to extend our process into our real lives and acknowledge where we were all at in our own lives, which I think, like, throughout the process we had moments of checking in about just how we were doing in the quarantine, and
Right.
it that was a way to kind of anchor us too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started, as Kristin Idaszak said, with a reading that she did, and that was so informative to me as to tone of the piece. Like it sits so beautifully in your voice, Kristen. And so we started with that, and then Paula came into the process, and we did a first read through and reflected on that. And then from there, we did a really detailed kind of table work. And, you know, a big question in my mind, and I think probably in all of our minds and all of the processes in the festival, was how do we make this time productive? You know, how do we use it? We're not in the room, but if we were, what would we be doing? And can that be done in Zoom? And if not, then what can we do that is useful in its place? And so we did a really detailed work through and sort of combed through the text and mapped the play, which I think was super helpful. And like, where are the clues? Like, what are the stories that we're tracking? Where is the detective a reliable narrator or an unreliable narrator? And kind of answered all of our questions there. And then we went back, and that's when Sarah came in after we had done that first pass. And we did another read through.
4 days, just to say, like when Kristen says we were really detailed, we were really detailed. Incredible.
Yeah. Well, and it was so helpful for me. You know, I had the experience of reading the play, you know, on my own and being so excited about it and so engaged by it. And then it just like the pile, it like its own pile, it just, the layers kept growing through the process. So yeah, so then Sarah Slight came in and started providing just amazing feedback and enrichment of the process. And then, yeah, a few rehearsals later, here we are. And now we include you all. And it's been so helpful, I think, to hear some of your feedback.
It's great. What great work. How exciting that you guys have been able to do so much and make so much out of a really strange moment in time. You know?
That this play happens to like really be about, you know?
Right.
I know.
Right.
It's really kind of, I guess we were supposed to be working on it right now.
Yeah.
I guess that was the universe saying, here's the moment, right?